Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
All right, welcome to the show. I'm
Yeah.
here with Alan Lee, my trusty sidekick,
Sure,
and our guest, the legendary Bobby Slayton.
Yeah, wow, we're excited.
You know, you should really throw in comedian Bobby Slayton because not really many people know who I am. You know, I've done a lot of podcasts. You know the greatest thing about doing this podcast is, I know I'm serious. I know you think I'm going to slam you guys.
Don't worry.
But it's right down the street from my house. And
Oh.
for people who live in L.A. or have been to L.A., I mean, a lot of cities are like this, but to have anything close by you in Los Angeles is an amazing thing. You know, I grew up in New York. I mean, sometimes you have to go take the subway to Brooklyn, but you always had things in the neighborhood. Here, there's no neighborhood. There's no walking because I live up in the hills. So just to come down the street. But here's the best part. So Keith, you didn't think I was going to talk about this. Look, you asked me. You opened up for me at the was it the Brea Improv?
Brea Improv.
And you hounded me to do the show. I said I'd be happy to do it. But then I said to you, where are we doing the show? Is it because I don't want to drive to Santa Monica. I don't want to. That's the thing. The only friends I really have are the ones who live in the Valley, and I get friends who live in Santa Monica. Well, why can we never get together? Because it's such a bitch to drive around this city, and I travel all the time. So when you said to me, we actually taped the show right in Sherman Oaks. I go, where? And you go right on Ventura Boulevard. I go, right down the street from my house. And then you sent me the address, and I'm very anal about this. And I never get. I always get places early, and even though it's right down the street from my house, I was there 20 minutes early, and I look at this deserted building, and I said, I know this is like a half-ass radio show, and a half-ass station, but it can't be like it looked more like a hideout where like terrorists are. Like after they rob a bank from the Superman TV show, they would hang out with the curtains are drawn and they're broken Venetian blinds. I said, this really looks like a crappy place. And then I call you and I go, can you let me in? And you not only did you have the address wrong, you had the street wrong. Now, how did that happen?
Unbelievable.
Tell me how that happened.
Okay, here's the thing.
It's better be good.
Okay. When the show first started, before LA Talk Radio, it was on Ventura Boulevard. Mm-hmm. So when I gave you the address, they didn't update it on the site. Mm-hmm. I just realized
was it ever in that building? 14242?
It used to be there
many years ago.
Wow. And then when you called me, I was like, did I give you that address? And I looked at the emails and I was like, I did, and I felt like it.
Yeah. I hope you felt terrible.
I felt horrible.
Good.
Were there any good restaurants down there? You stop and had a little something.
But you know what? Coming over, I was running late because of you, and I said, well, maybe I'll just make them sweat out and walk in 2 minutes before taping time. But I couldn't do it to you because I'm a professional.
That's sweet.
All right,
sweet.
Are we done?
You're a legend.
Why is he talking?
Because I talk over everywhere. This is
great. All right, well, I'm ready to start the little podcast radio show, LA Talk, whatever.
Radio.
Yeah, LA Talk Radio. Is this on just in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Yeah.
It's all over LA.
It helps my fan base in LA.
It goes to Santa Monica.
No, wait a second, Keith. You also said to me, you want to be on my podcast. You call this a podcast. It's not a podcast.
It is a podcast because when it comes out, I put it on a podcast.
Oh, so it's actually playing all over the place.
Yeah.
So your imaginary listeners all over the world can hear this, not just your imaginary listeners in Los Angeles, everywhere.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. See, but I don't know. When I asked you to do the podcast, you said, I'll only do it if you were funny.
I never said that.
Yeah, at the show, and then after.
Oh, if you were funny at the club.
Yeah,
and you were funny.
Yeah, and it was funny. And remember that guest set that they put on?
I'm trying to remember. I play so many clubs. The thing is, Bobby, we have a guest set tonight, and I don't mind giving somebody a few minutes. I said the only time I don't like a guest set is like Friday, Saturday night. We have 2 shows because they got to clear the first show. That's just it. And then the late show, people are tired. People are so stupid, and they're young and they're drunk. And I don't want the show to be extended any longer than it has to be and taken away from guys like us who are on the bill. But at the same time, if somebody wants to do 5-10 minutes, but I'm trying to remember, was the guy really bad?
He was really bad, and you were like stressing out. And then after a show, he asked you how you did, and because he was a waiter there.
No, wait. I do remember, of course. Oh no, of course I remember. Yeah, no, but you're the one that gave him crap. No, I didn't. I didn't give him. I remember busting his chops a little, but you know what? That's what comics do. Yeah. It's almost like rookie ball players when they cut their shoelaces and and they kind of initiation. But he was. He had I don't know. I don't really remember, but I remember him not being great.
Yeah, and then he said, he's like, so do you think I was good? And then you said, I think you're a great waiter.
I don't remember. But I heard you were busting his chops afterwards. He had no right being up there. And somebody said, weren't you getting a lot of shit or something?
Me? No. No. He asked me. He was like, how do you think I did? I said, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think you shouldn't ask for a guest set if you're not polished to do a guest set. You know what I mean?
Well, it was was it the last night? Was it a Sunday night or?
Yeah, it was the last night.
It's fine. It doesn't. I got bigger things to worry about. Some guy wants to do 5 minutes. And,
yeah. But I just
it does make the show. People do go to a professional comedy show, then it's not open mic night.
Yeah.
So they should really do it for just guys who are either professional or want to be professional or or you.
Yeah. What?
You're included.
No, yeah. But the cool thing about Bobby is, and Bobby, I told you this, but my grandfather was. Oh. You were you were his favorite, stand-up, and before he died, we saw you in Vegas. And so it was a real.
I didn't kill him. My performance. No. Right before he died, he saw you, and next thing you know, boom. Goodbye, Grandpa.
No, but no, Pop.
That's great.
Pop loved you and stuff, and then
Las Vegas.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, I would love to see you open up for him," and it really hurt because it's like he never got to saw that. But then it was like a dream accomplished in me that I got to open up for it.
Yeah, well, I wish I had dreams that little. All my dreams would be realized. I have such big dreams. Maybe I shouldn't shoot so high. If this is one of your dreams, that's cool. I'm glad I could help out.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait, was it you? Oh my God! Because it might. I think it was because I never saw a posting like this on Facebook. Is it you that said? You don't love your grandmother anymore? You hate your grandmother? Was that you? Something to that effect?
I didn't say I don't love her anymore, but yeah.
You unfriended your grandmother?
Oh, yeah. My grandmother unfriended me. Yeah.
Unfriended you?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know. Maybe just because I'm old, and maybe because my grandparents are dead, but I just couldn't imagine if my grandparents were alive, or even my parents are alive. My mother's alive. Just being on Facebook. But your grandma is on. Why would she unfriend you?
I think just because I make a lot of grandma jokes and.
Did you give her wrong directions too, someplace?
Oh, that could have been.
That happened. Grandma, why don't you maybe take you out for lunch? And then you give her the wrong street, the wrong address, and poor Grandma. And she doesn't have Google Maps or Waze, so Grandma was probably screwed.
That's bad.
What did she unfriended you?
That's probably what I did. I'm actually happy she unfriended me because she used to like every single status and then post cute things.
It must have hurt.
Yeah, and I was like,
Why did she unfriend you?
Honestly, I just think she unfriended me because she saw my stand-up and I don't talk about her in a bright way. I make jokes about her.
Right.
A joke I have is I was playing games with my grandma. We were playing paper, rock, scissors, but she thought we were playing paper, rock, seizures.
Oh, nice.
Oh. And she just...
I'm going to unfriend you now.
Yeah, that's me.
No, what? No. Don't unfriend me. But no, so... I get very sensitive when people unfriend me with my Asperger's. I think I take it personal or something.
You do take a lot of things personal, but I take things personally too.
We all do.
The thing with the Facebook and the Facebook is that I never realized they cut you off at 5,000 friends, so I would just friend everybody.
Oh yeah.
And then there were a couple of people, comics and actors, who I go, well, they want, and then I couldn't add them on, so I had to start deleting, the teenage girls from Thailand and the sheep herder from India, with no vowels in his name. Who are these?
Exactly.
What's that?
I'm just saying. I've had the same experience.
Nobody's talking to you. He's like a retarded Paul Schaefer without a piano.
Here we go. I knew it.
Knew what? What did you know?
I knew he was going to start up on me.
I'm not starting up on you. I just don't see why you're here.
I love it.
Alan's here because I can't drive at night.
That's right. See, I have to drive.
Oh, I knew there was a reason.
So he can't find the address. He can't find the address.
And I can't find the address.
Yeah. Well, at least you had the right address.
I did.
Okay.
So, Bobby,
why don't they let you drive at night?
I just don't drive at night because what it is I don't see light that good. So when stop signs and red, green, blue. I just have a hard time seeing light.
Are you Chinese?
No.
Okay.
I'm Caucasian.
Okay.
And but with my Asperger's, I'm very sensitive to the light, so I don't see.
Oh, that's right. I think you told me that.
Yeah. When I opened up for you, my girlfriend at the time actually.
She's gone already? That wasn't that long ago. We were.
Yeah. Well,
I thought you were still with her.
No. It's short story. Whatever. Anyways, changing the subject, I posted on Twitter questions for Bobby Slayton. And so you want to hear questions from the Twitter feed?
I can't wait.
You can't wait?
I can't imagine just reading this Twitter feed and what they have to say. This no good can come of this. But okay, sure, of course. We have 45 minutes to kill. What else am I going to do?
Well,
Talk to the retarded Paul Schaefer over here? I mean... Yeah, sure, whatever you want to do.
Hi, Bobby.
What? Okay. Bobby, when did you start doing stand-up comedy? Do you remember your first time on stage?
Oh, my God. These are the kind of questions I'm going to have to get. Yeah, of course. I think that's like saying, do you remember... I even think a guy like Mick Jagger probably remembers the first woman he had sex with. I mean, the first time... you're on do stand up. It's a major thing.
Yeah.
Well,
tell us about it. What was
it? Was pretty. I have it on. I actually have it on tape. It was 38 years ago, and I have it on a little. I have it on a cassette. Remember you ever hear those things?
Yeah.
They came right after 8 tracks. We had these cassette things back in the. I would go to Best Buy in my covered wagon and stock up on them. But I remember the first time I did stand up. There was a club in San Francisco called the Holy City Zoo, and they did comedy. They did professional comedy on Sunday nights and open mic night on Tuesday. And the other nights, it was a really small club. It was literally, I think, 70 or 80 seats max. It's so small. And, oh my God, maybe not even that big. So, but you know what? When you're first time on stage, when it's a full room with 70 people, that really is a big crowd.
Yeah.
When you've never been on stage before outside of 4th grade, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I killed, by the way. Opened and closed in one day. But we... So anyway, I was at a party and somebody said to me, I was always telling jokes or something. I mean, I never did stand up. And somebody said, you should do stand up. There's a place called the Holy City Zoo, and you should. I was a bike messenger downtown. I was 21 years old, and so I go on Sunday night. The other so-called professional comedians, and they weren't really very good. I mean, I didn't really watch that much. It was packed, and I'm watching that I could do this. And the guy booking the club, Tony DePaul, said, "You want to go on tonight?" I said, no, I was going to sign up for next Tuesday. I mean, 9 days from now, because I've never done stand-up. I didn't have any routines. It's not like I did in the college Rascal or my fraternity or, I was like Billy Crystal performing at all my parents' parties. So I said, I got to put something together. But he was going to put me on the professional comedy night. And I found out months later that was a big opportunity because, all these guys had these little power trips where, they would never put, you're an amateur, so you got to go on Tuesday. And even if you got there early to sign up, they put you on the whim of the guy, Tony booking it. So anyway, I spent 9 days riding around like a mental patient on my little bike, delivering stuff in downtown San Francisco, putting together 5 minutes. And I got up on stage, and I signed up second. And I thought he was going to put me on second, and he didn't. But I just jumped on stage and took the mic from him. And after he's kind of pissed, he goes, hey, man, you can't just jump on stage. I go, well, I was number 2. He goes, well, I just put you on whenever I feel like putting you on. But I jumped up there, and I did my little set. And for a guy that never did stand-up and didn't have, like a guy like you, I'm not saying it's easy for you, but you have so many comics you can watch now. There's so many comedians. In a way, it makes it tougher because everything's been done. All the styles have been done, all the jokes, or a lot of them. But, comics now, you have this template where you can just turn on Netflix or Comedy Central or, anything. You can see, The Tonight Show, and you can see how stand-up's done. When I was doing it, there weren't that many comics. You'd see, George Carlin or some of the old guys on The Tonight Show or Ed Sullivan or Merv Griffin, and so I didn't really see that much comedy. So you kind of had to forge your own way, back then, because you didn't have all these role models and guys that people always said, hey, who do you want to be like? And I go, I never really watched that much comedy. And then somebody said, well, you're like a young Lenny Bruce. And I had heard of Lenny Bruce, but I never knew who he was, which is a shame.
We were just commenting on how you look like Lenny Bruce. There's a young shot of you on Google. It's amazing.
Why are you whispering like it's a?
Because that's
like
that's
why are you whispering like
that's
like
like
it's some
that's
kind
my
of like
that's
late
my
night?
radio voice. I like to talk like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Scaring me.
It's a voiceover over a voiceover.
Yeah. Okay. Can't you wait in the car and keep it running before Keith's done? He's your driver, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
No. So, but Lenny Bruce, but here's the funny thing. So I had a couple of jokes in my act, like over the next few months, and then I started reading about Lenny Bruce and listening to him, and he had done a couple of the jokes, obviously before I did. And I said, well, that's kind of cool that I'm thinking the same lines of a guy like Lenny Bruce. I mean, I wasn't nearly as good, but at least I knew I was kind of sort of pointed in the right direction and headed in the right direction. And so I always fancied myself like this cutting edge, even though I look back at the crap now and it wasn't really very cutting edge, But, compared to what a lot of the guys were doing in San Francisco back then, impressions and, I guess some of it was kind of, a little bit more biting than, when people would get pissed, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
So I kind of went that route. And you see where it got me on your dumb podcast. You see, after 40 years, look where I've wound up.
No. I appreciate you doing this podcast.
I know. I am. I'm happy to be here.
Do you remember if you killed that night? Or?
Well, I have the tape.
Yeah.
Young comedians used to ask me for advice all the time, and I was in no position to give anybody advice, but I used to say, you should really tape yourself. And I used to record myself all the time. Yeah. And then, I drive back from the Irvine Improv back to L.A., an hour drive, and I'd put the cassette in, and a lot of times I thought the set went okay, and it went a lot better than I thought. And then sometimes I thought I killed, and it didn't go quite as well as I thought. And then sometimes, that joke didn't work, and I realized how I was talking too fast. And so one of the best things to do is tape yourself. And then I found even better than audio recording yourself is to videotape yourself. Because I'd look at myself, and I'd be hunched over on stage, and, you have these little mannerisms that, are very self-conscious, and you don't realize you're doing them.
Yeah.
I mean, you videotape yourself, and then you realize, God, that's really stupid, and why'd I wear that shirt, or my belly's sticking out, or I shouldn't grab the mic that way, or, you learn if you can be subjective and objective about watching yourself, which is tough to do. But I was always very critical of my stuff. And, there were nights where I would do 45 minutes an hour and kill, but I go, okay, well, these are jokes that I've done a million times. I didn't try anything new. I didn't go out on a limb.
Yeah.
I've done, so a lot of times, but getting back to what you said about, did I kill? No, I didn't kill. Yeah. But for a new guy, for his first time on stage, with pretty dumb material, I did well.
Yeah.
And audiences back then, now, you go to a comedy club, it's, I think, a little bit easier because people are there to laugh. The open mic night, they're there to laugh, but people weren't really trained. People didn't know how to act, I mean, people still do that. Oh, I wasn't heckling, I was part of the show, and he wanted me to yell at him. People are still idiots.
Yeah.
They'll never change.
I think I don't do open mics. I mean, I haven't done open mics in 7 years, but I remember when I did them, no one laughed. And then when you do comedy shows, people are there to laugh.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, the other thing though is I used to open up for a lot of rock and roll bands in San Francisco, and sometimes you weren't even billed. There's comedians that have done bits about it, Albert Brooks and Billy Crystal. There's a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of comics cut their teeth opening for bands, and that can be the toughest but the most rewarding because when people are not there to see you, they don't even know you're on the bill. They're there to see whoever, Tom Jones or...
You opened up for Tom Jones?
No, I didn't. No. My act was never clean enough to play all the... a lot of my friends would open up for Diana Ross and maybe Frank Sinatra and, The Fifth Dimension and all these middle-of-the-road but really good, big drawing Vegas acts. My act was always too blue or dirty, or I don't even like to call it blue or dirty, but it wasn't Vegas mainstream. So I opened up for rock bands. And I was some Motown, Fort Thompson, Ray Charles, Tower Power. I mean, a lot of bands, Warren Zevon, a lot of bands. And those were, when I was a younger comic, it was tough.
Yeah. Those crowds for a band, how'd you deal with those?
Yeah, because I've never opened up for a band.
It was tough. It was really tough. But like I said, when you did well, in a way, it was a lot more rewarding than doing well in a comedy club because people are not there to laugh and they're not there to see you. I remember there was one time in Tahoe, Yeah, I mean, you always wanted to be on the bill, and most of the time I was. But July 4th weekend, back in the 80s, I was opening up for Eddie Money when Eddie was like at the top of his game, and so I get up to Caesar's Tahoe, and it's hard enough opening for a rock band, but my name's not on the marquee.
Yeah.
And I call up the entertainment director. He goes, well, the marquee people, the union people, they've already left, and we can't get your name up there. So it was going to be tough enough opening for doing this show, and you get a rowdy, people are, hanging out and skiing all day, whatever they're doing now, stoned out of their minds, and the lights come down, and the big roar goes up, and then they go, please welcome comedian Bobby Slayton. And, a few people clapped because I was from the Bay Area. I started, and Lake Tahoe was not far away, so, maybe a quarter of the audience knew who I was. And maybe half of them wanted to see me. So that was always a challenge. And that's why I always started talking so fast, because, it was like get them before they get you. It was like kill or be killed.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, like, why I admire your stand-up so much, because you're so old school comedy, and not a lot of guys do, what you do, just go up real fast and just...
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
And so,
Don Rickles, you call him the Don Rickles of comedy, the pit bull of comedy.
Are you falling asleep? I should
Yeah, I am.
You feel like you're about to nod off. As you said, it comes to the...
I've had a hard day.
Yeah, it sounds like you
Thank you. Thank you.
You have a thought, but you can't just take the sentence to fruition. It's like, Don Rickles...
Don.
You have to grab on that last word.
that
every 10
Here's my
minutes,
Don Rickles laugh with it. Is that better?
That was great. That was great. I should do a whole hour of him doing impressions. You should have interviewed me as Don Rickles. Nobody would have known.
that was the second question I actually got on Twitter. Bobby, where did the nickname the Pit Bull of Comedy come from?
Oh, God, I get that so much.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
We don't need to answer that. I was just reading.
Well, first of all, I should really drop that whole thing because I'm just so tired of it. But then, the comedy clubs keep advertising. It was years ago. My friend Alex Bennett, who had a really cutting-edge radio show in San Francisco. He was way before Howard Stern. As a matter of fact, Howard Stern used to talk about growing up and listening to Alex Bennett when he was a kid on Long Island. And Alex, he was something else in the 60s and 70s. He advocating, all kinds of, legalization of marijuana, which was really not, that was, and you have John Lennon, Yoko Ono on the show, and the Black Panthers, and it was a real radical, left-wing kind of liberal kind of, it was a really cool show. So Alex went to San Francisco, and I, grew up in New York. I went to San Francisco. When I found out he was doing radio there, I went in to see him, and I was the guy that, it would have happened anyway, but morning radio, there's so many morning radio stations. Here in L.A., Kevin and Bean and Heidi and Frank and, Mancow in Chicago and, Stern.
Reza.
There's every city's got 20 radio shows where they do comics on the morning show. And I'm not saying Alex and I were the first ones, but it was on a regular basis when I went in to see Alex, he goes, any other comedians? And I brought in Dana Carvey and Kevin Pollak, and eventually we got Robin Williams to come in, and a lot of guys, and they would be part of the show, and it became a whole big morning thing. There were all these San Francisco comics, Stephen Pearl, and oh my God, there were so many guys. Some aren't even around anymore. But anyway, so Alex, I'm on the show one morning, and I get to do a joke about McDonald's, and every comic had a joke about McDonald's. And, it was McDonald's and airlines, and it wasn't really that bad. I didn't remember what the joke was, but the advertising executive from the station came running in and goes, you just lost us a $50,000 account. And Alex goes, you're like a pit bull. This is when pit bulls was first getting in the news. They're eating the heads off the children when the babysitters weren't looking, and they're attacking the mailman. And so Alex goes, we put you on the radio, you're like a pit bull. You bite the hand that feeds you. And he just started calling me the pit bull of comedy, or hey, pit bull. And that kind of stuck. And the first time I did a TV show, I gave me at the Improv or something, they said, what's your introduction? And I just called me the pit bull of comedy, I guess. And so it just kind of stuck. And now I'm kind of burdened with it.
But you're burdened with it, but that's like...
You still awake?
I'm trying. I'm wide awake.
But no, but that's like your... Because that's like your thing. Because like when I saw you, when people heckled you, you just went so fast off on them. Like, you turned around what they were going to say off on them. It was hysterical.
Well, I don't always do that. I try. I really... like to do my act. I don't really want to. Don Rickles, was one of the first and still, he's still one of the greatest. And he was one of those guys, with Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley, going after people. And other comics I'm sure did it, but he made an art form of it, and that's his act.
Yeah.
And even if I think it was the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson, when he calls Rickles on the carpet. Rickles goes, the black guy back there. And Johnny goes, I don't see a black guy. There's no black guy back there. Because there's always some part. Because I've seen Rickles live, and the Japanese guy up front goes, who? And there's no Japanese guy up front. So Rickles makes an art of just making fun of people even if they're not there, because that's his whole shtick. But I would really, for the most part, rather do my show. And a lot of times I just start talking to people, and I don't mean to. If I'm talking about marriage, hey, you two married? What are you guys, gay? And then do my gay stuff. And I kind of want to bring the audience in. And sometimes they really think that now they're part of the show, and they just start talking back to me, which is my fault for talking to them in the first place. But there are shows that I do where I do an hour, and 45 minutes of it, it's talking to the audience and doing the material and intertwining it, and it works out great. It's nice to know I just have the material to fall back on, but I've had people come to my show and sit up front, and they get really pissed. Well, we're not here to be part of your show. And then I have people thinking I'm going to be like Rickles, who come to my show and want to be picked on. And they're like, man, we came to your show, and you didn't pick on us at all. And, it's like it's damned if I do, damned if I don't. There's some comedy clubs that put up signs when I play. Bobby Slayton is one of our favorite comics, although we recommend if you faint at heart, his material might not be suitable for, And then people go, there was nothing. They see the sign and they come in expecting, God, this guy's going to be dirty and blue and outrageous. And I'm really not.
Yeah.
And then, but they do it, the comedy clubs do it, so when people do get upset, well, we had the sign.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah. But they said that really brings in more people, than scares people away.
Yeah.
Did
they have the sign at Brea? I don't think they did.
I don't think they went to Brea, but most of the improvs used to.
Yeah.
Comedy Magic Club used to, and a few clubs, Funny Bones, sometimes put something like that. It's like the ride thing at Disneyland. If you have high blood pressure, or bad back, you might want to attend a different ride or something. That kind of thing.
Now, which one do you enjoy playing more, casinos or comedy clubs?
I don't enjoy playing anywhere. I just
you don't.
I would stay home for the rest of my life. I don't play that many casinos. But it depends, because if you play in a big theater, the thing is that I never got to the point where like Ray Romano or Jay Leno or Louis Black. I go to Vegas and very often I'll play a comedy club, or I'll do a weekend out at the South Point or the Orleans. They're smaller casinos and they're great. I would much rather play a showroom than a comedy club. Because when you play in a showroom, if you play in a casino in Vegas, people have a lot of choices in that town. If they're coming to see you, they could have got free tickets. They might be in the hotel, but the fact that because I was in Vegas for a long time, and I was at Hooters, at Tropicana.
That's where I saw you at, is Hooters.
Really, and that's a whole other story. I don't really want to get into that one. But now I play the South Point once or twice a year. And it's great because it's Bobby Slayton and friends that I bring, a couple other comedians, and people are there to see comedy. You go to a comedy club, they're there to see comedy, but a lot of them, it's a different dynamic in a comedy club.
Yeah.
And they're not as monitored as well. Maybe they're not as expensive as the casinos. People pay, $30, $40 for a ticket. I think they tend to pay attention more, although that's not always true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never performed at a casino, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to take me to South Point?
No.
Oh, excellent.
Well, no, but if that was one of your dreams, but it wasn't. Your dream was opening for me. You need to have bigger dreams. I told you that at the beginning of the broadcast.
Oh, my new dream is to tour with you.
Yeah. A lot of guys want to do that. Not as pretty as it sounds. More dumb question from your imaginary listeners. What else you got?
No. This one says, Bobby, which movie do you like better, Candy Shack or Ghostbusters?
Which movie do I like better? Caddyshack or Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with me?
I don't know. This is just a Twitter question.
Well, let me think about that, because I haven't seen either before. I love both of those. I love Caddyshack and I love Ghostbusters. They were both really good. Neither of them were Weekend at Bernie's, but
Weekend at Bernie's was hysterical.
Was it? Oh. I'm not sure I ever made it through it. And Weekend at Bernie's too came. I was in some hotel room a couple of months ago, and there weren't a lot of channel options, and it wasn't a lot going on. And American Movie Classics, Weekend at Bernie's 2, and I started watching it. I go, I didn't really get what was going on because I didn't see the first Weekend at Bernie's. I think it's a trilogy, isn't it? I like both those movies. I think Caddyshack maybe
Rodney
more.
was in that. Rodney Dangerfield.
Huh?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Sounds like he's whispering answers to you.
I'm just agreeing with him. Like,
yeah. Rodney Dangerfield, yes, he was in that. Yes.
I thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah.
Bobby,
I hope he's a better driver than he is an interview guy.
oh, he's a great driver. He's actually a sidekick.
Wait, quiet for a second. These great soundproof studios. People, I think my ride's here. Can you hear that? You can actually hear the sirens in these beautiful LA Talk Radio soundproof booths. It's great.
Bobby,
and good headphones too.
I know. Well, somebody turned these on so loud. Anyways, and my glasses are falling off. I have a question. Do you enjoy acting more than stand-up?
No.
I
hate acting.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I had more acting jobs only because you feel like you're in show business.
Yeah.
You're playing, the Jukebox Comedy Club in Peoria. You can be more removed from showbiz, except for doing your show. You're in a movie, and it's funny. I actually tweeted this last night. It was last night.
I retweeted it.
Oh, you did retweet it?
For Bandits and Dreamgirls.
Somebody called me up and goes, I've only done 10 movies, and somebody said Dreamgirls and Bandits are on right now, and I tweeted that. I go, two of my movies, big residual checks, and then somebody, emailed me or Facebook me, Get Shorty was another movie I've had one scene that was on yesterday also. All three of my big hits were on. Small parts, but they were big hits.
Wait, Ed Wood was a big hit?
Actually, Ed Wood was a great movie, but it wasn't a big hit. It didn't make any money.
Really?
Mainstream America didn't go for that. No, they didn't make any money at all.
Well,
Bandits made no money. Great movie. That happened to come out a week after 9/11, but it was so... Billy Bob Thornton, Kate Blanchett, and Bruce Willis, the three stars. An unknown January Jones, who's in Mad Men, and then me. And Jane Fonda's kid, he was great. Troy Garrity. But that was a really funny movie. I saw it last week. And it never went anywhere, Bandits. You'd be surprised how many people never heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of it because I love Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, and he was great to work with. He was a lot of fun. But that movie, never went anywhere. And Ed Wood was so cool.
That surprises me. Ed Wood didn't make any money.
You know why? Because the movie, the American public, all these idiots they went to see the movie because, Johnny Depp is in it. But Johnny Depp was playing this quirky, oddball Ed Wood, this over-the-top, lunatic. And I don't think that people really got it. I know that my mother and friends of mine from high school, we ever see the movie, it's terrible. It was great. Martin Landau won Academy Award, Best Actor, for playing, Lugosi. It was great.
I loved it.
Well, you get stuff like that. 'Cause you're that kind of guy, But you go to Comic-Con and all that, right?
I do go to Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's why I figured.
I do interviews at Comic-Con.
I figured that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just figured you were at Comic-Con. You're probably too young to be in the KISS Army, though, right?
Yeah, okay. I'm a little too young for that.
Yeah.
But what was it like working with Tim Burton? Was that cool?
Yeah. I only worked on the movie for 3 or 4 days, and he was... could not have been cooler. It was almost like the scenes I was in, they were kind of ad-libbed. There was one with Criswell, the gay psychic that, and Bela Lugosi, and I kind of ad-libbed the scene. There were lines, and he told me I could make stuff up, so he really didn't give me much direction.
Yeah, I
didn't really do much in that movie. I was literally in Ed Wood. I was in one scene. It was actually 2. They cut it down to 1. But it's funny that. My God, that's why I don't like doing movies. That was a great experience. But standing around for 4 days to be in a movie for literally a minute and a half, that movie got me on the Academy Awards because when Martin Landau was nominated, they showed a clip from the movie, and they showed me in the background. He was talking to Johnny Depp, and I'm on stage as Slick Slumupovich, Seeker of Adventure. And You know, so I was on the Academy Awards thanks to the movie for an eighth of a second.
Well, I mean, that's still something to be huge about, right?
It was one of my dreams. I guess that was a dream, be on the Academy Awards. So I guess I did reach a dream.
Yeah. And then
are you laughing or sleeping?
I'm snoring. I wanted to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but you won't give me a chance.
Oh.
I have a question.
Okay,
a big question for Bobby.
All right.
You played Joey Bishop in a movie made for TV.
Yes.
The Rat Pack.
Right.
You have no comment on that.
No comment?
Yeah, I want to comment.
Oh, you want to comment on it?
I want to comment.
Oh, you want to comment?
No, Joey Bishop. It's amazing. I'm so impressed with it.
No comment.
You know, you'd be surprised how many people don't even remember who Joey Bishop is. That's why it's so hard playing comedy clubs now, because you know it's you get kids that don't know who the Beatles are, can't name them. And I always hate people who go, it's before my time. Well, you know what? World War II was before my time, and so was Thomas Edison, and so was Al Jolson, and so was
George Washington.
There's a lot of things. Barely, yeah. And, I mean, I know who these people are, and I know what they've done, and I know, but people just use this. You know, popular culture today is it's such awful. It's awful. I mean, there's some good stuff out there, some great stuff. There always will be, but you know, people got to know the roots of music, and they got to know the roots of, you know, television and Hollywood, and they're just so stupid. And that's why I'm glad 30 years from now that there'll be no more World.
You can't do Ed Sullivan impressions today.
I think Rich Little probably still does one. But, yeah, even though you couldn't do that. Couldn't even do a Johnny Carson one. You'd be surprised how many kids don't know who Johnny Carson is.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, doing that Rat Pack movie was pretty cool. That was really great. You know, because to work with Ray Liotta playing Sinatra, his birthday was the other night, and, you know, Joe Mantegna playing Dean Martin, you know, and the great Don Cheadle playing Sammy, and me being Joey Bishop was really kind of like the real Joey Bishop, because Joey was a talented guy, but he's just a nightclub comic. You know, he wasn't one of the showbiz heads on Mount Rushmore like those three guys. So here I am working with three major Hollywood actors. So in a way, I kind of was like the Joey Bishop, like Tito Jackson. I was part of the family, but totally dispensable.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who played Peter Lawford?
Oh, what's his name? Peter was great. Angus McFadden, a Scottish actor, who he was great. He was really good.
Now, did you do any research, like playing him?
Yeah, I did a lot of research. Yeah, it was great. Because I did.
No, I didn't know whether to take that seriously or not.
Huh?
What? Because you didn't like acting.
That's why.
But here's the thing with Joey Bishop. So it took me forever to get the part. I had to go and read 3 or 4 times. And first they thought I was too old. I was 42. Joey Bishop was 42. Ray Liotta was playing the part of 42. And Frank Sinatra at the time was 42. Give or take a year. I think we were all about 42. And I looked the same age as Ray Liotta. You know, same height as Ray Liotta, maybe a little bit shorter, and which was perfect, you know. And I'm going, but why do I look too old? And then I dyed my hair so I look younger, and they kept bringing in all these other actors, and finally I got it. So I said, I had only done about 10 movies, and every part I've ever done has been a fast-talking New York Jew. That's Joey Bishop, although he's from Philly. I was basically playing the same part, but I never played a real person before. So I have these visions of De Niro as Raging Bull and Meryl Streep learning how to play the cello and speak German or whatever the hell these method actors do. So I go to the Museum of Broadcasting, where they have it's an amazing place in Beverly Hills. We got one in New York too. It's great. It's great. And so I pack a little snack and I sneak it in, and I say to my wife, go to the Museum of Broadcasting. I got my notebook. I'm going to watch Joey Bishop. I'm going to watch the Joey Bishop show. And he had a talk show and a sitcom. And I'm going to watch him for hours and study him. And literally, after 10 minutes, I go, well, I got it. Because he was just like me. You know, he talked a little like Jackie Mason, you know, like the odd dog. It's me, Joey, Frank, hey, Sammy, hey, Dean.
I wish the people out there could see this. I wish they could see it right here.
Oh.
Joey Bishop.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this one of your dreams to see me do Joey Bishop?
It is. No, I wanted to play
Regis. Both of you guys are making your dreams come true today. I'm so happy I could help you too, especially during the holiday season.
Now, Bobby, we have another Twitter question.
Where are you getting these Twitter questions from?
That's a good question.
From Twitter, my fan base.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you want to know who's tweeted this? Or
I don't care.
all right.
If you want to tell me, I mean, sure, if you make the person happy.
Okay.
What do you keep coughing in the microphone for?
sorry,
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I'm sorry. You made me laugh so much. I
This
just
is
burst
from-
out.
You can cough in the other direction. You have to go right into the microphone. And then people think it's me. They go, Bobby Slayton's got Ebola. What's wrong with Slayton? Why is he coughing so much?
Okay,
It's me. I'm
You're
the
coughing
one. I'm
more-
coughing. I want everyone out there to know it was me.
Okay, here's a question for Bobby. Bobby, do you write down your material or do you just say it on stage or both? And this is
Both.
from Ron Dude.
Ron Dude. Ron Dude?
Yeah, Ron Dude. I just retweeted it, so you could say.
No, I believe you. You have to show me. Yeah, of course I write it down. I have notes in my pocket. It's my little security blanket. I've never gone on stage without notes in my pocket. Rarely do I take them out. But, sometimes, right before I go on, I look at a few new things I want to try, and I always have them in my pocket. But I always write it. No, I mean, I ad-lib a lot of stuff, and I make up stuff, and some stuff is, maybe happened that day or is going on, and make it up as I go along, but I have a core of material that, I don't always get to most of it, but I like to know I have it written down in case my mind goes blank.
Now, I have a question. You've been doing stand-up for a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, and you're one of the best. How much material do you have? Is it like 24 hours?
Not as much as you would think.
Really?
No, you look at guys like Bill Burr and Louis C.K. who write a new hour every half an hour. Those guys are just always writing. I have 3 CDs. So right there are 3 hours.
Okay. But you have a special, Born to be Bobby.
Yeah, and that's a lot of that stuff. People are complaining because they say, well, a lot of this stuff is old material from all his CDs. But I'd never done a 1 hour special. So I wanted to do the best of, So I took a lot of that stuff, plus some new stuff. But that was 4 or 5 years ago already. So, I mean, if I did every bit I had, which we could never remember, an hour of it's probably obsolete by now. It's been done by other people, not the people took it from me, but, the premises have been done to death. I haven't really looked back at a lot of the stuff. And, but if I had to stay on stage and I had my notes and I slow down, I could probably do 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. That's cool.
I wouldn't want to.
Oh, you wouldn't want to?
No. Guys like Dave Chappelle and Carlos Mencia about doing 2-hour shows. What the hell are you doing? That's great. People are laughing and you want to be up there. I think once I did almost an hour 45, an hour 2-hour show once, but I don't. It's like leave them wanting more. And the old showbiz saying.
Now, do you find, this is just my question because everyone loves Louis C.K. and I personally, I think he's a good writer, but I don't think he's a great stand-up.
Well, I haven't really watched him do that much stand-up.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I've always loved him. And, he did the Nasty show in Montreal a few times with me, and he was spectacular. But I don't really watch comics for, an hour that often.
Yeah.
Because
you're worried about your hour, right?
I think the great thing about Louis C.K. is that Louis just gets up, and I think a lot of times he's kind of just almost writing while he's up there, and it's not all going to hit.
Yeah.
You just keep doing that. You're going to get a lot of material. I love the guy, the fact that he's not afraid to take chances and just say what's on his mind. And from what I've seen of him, I love him. But then again, I haven't sat and watched that much stuff. I think also a lot of times people build up somebody so much, and then when you finally see them, you go, oh, they're not that great. You hear so much about them, or you expect so much. And, if Woody Allen does a great movie, Andy Hall, and then the next one's not as good, well, or Billy Crystal hosts the Oscars, he was better last year. When you're a perfect 10, and then you hit an 8 or 9, you go, he's much better last year. Mm-hmm. To rise to that level. It's got to be difficult. I've never been up there, so I wouldn't know. I've never been to that rarefied air.
Do you ever do the Comedy Store?
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because when I started out, in San Francisco, from New York, I came down here, me, Dana Carvey, Kevin Pollak, a few other guys, and you kind of either played the Store or the Improv. There were a few guys like Leno and Seinfeld that played both, but I think Leno and Seinfeld, all these more New York, Boston, monologists kind of started gravitating more to the Improv, and the Comedy Store was more the California comics, the prop comics, and the women comics, and there was plenty of great comics. I mean, Pryor used to play there and all the time, but it was more, it was a different scene. And when I first came down from San Francisco, Mitzi Shore, who ran it, wouldn't really give me the time of day. And I often liked the vibe over there. And I went over to the Improv, and Bud Freeman and Mark Lano, both New York Jews, and, they were both, and all the comics that were playing there, it was mostly, guys from New York, Mark Schiff and Larry Miller and Seinfeld and, friends of mine and guys I liked. And so I played there. But now, when I'm in L.A., it was hard enough for me to come to the bottom of the hill to do your show. I don't want to go out and do the second the show's over, I told my wife, you heard me right before we went on. I said, take the pizza dough out of the fridge, turn the oven on,
Hit R, record.
Huh?
Hit R, record. I heard that.
You heard that?
I actually heard that.
Well, nobody knows what that means.
Wait, you recorded pizza? I'm so.
No, I had to have her record the show for me.
Oh, right.
But I don't like to go out and do stand-up when I'm home. On the rare occasion to get a TV show, I'll go to the Comedy Magic Club or Laugh Factory and I'll try the 5 minutes out. But since I'm on the road so much, I can do that on the road. I don't need to when I'm home. Yeah. In the old days, you go to the Improv and casting people hung out there, and the talent scouts for the Tonight Show, and nobody really does that anymore unless they're coming to see you, and nobody needs to come see you because you can just send them a tape or they can watch you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or listen to you on the LA Talk Radio.
LA Talk Radio.
What's the name of the show anyway? You have a name for it?
Yeah, it's Reza Riffs.
Razor Riffs?
Yeah, like Reza because it's my last name, and Riffs because we're just talking. And
Reza. I have the Razor. Oh, Razor Riffs.
Razor,
yeah.
like a razor.
This podcast actually, the reason why I do it is because it helps with my Asperger's. It helps me socialize more. So, that's why I enjoy doing
this. This is
the
therapy
podcast.
for both of us.
I'm not saying it's therapy. I'm just saying it helps me open up and talk to people.
That's
really?
healthy. It is.
But I'm glad I can help.
It's very,
You're
like
making
vitamins.
my dreams come true, Bobby. We should change your name from Pitbull
Bobby the
to
Dream Maker.
Exactly.
Mother Teresa, yeah. Yeah.
You just take me on the road with you. I'll do the 5 minutes and be like, I made that kid's dreams come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we have one last Twitter question.
Thank God.
Why is Bobby looking at his watch?
I'm not looking at my watch. I'm actually
He's
looking at the
yawning.
reflection of the clock in the window. Yeah.
You were yawning into the microphone.
I was.
I get to cough, you get to yawn.
Okay, let's ask this question because we got...
Wait, actually, I had 2 glasses of wine right before I came here. I shouldn't have done that. Very unprofessional.
I had 2. That's why I'm falling asleep. I had 2.
Bobby's going to kill Alan Lee.
No.
Okay, here's the Twitter question.
I feel bad for him.
Okay.
I feel like I'm an Ed McMahon that he can't hear.
Okay, here's the question. Bobby, you had a cameo in Spade's Dickie Roberts. Did you stick around for the entire shoot or meet them mingle with the cast?
No. Dickie Roberts, I forgot about that one.
That was written by Fred Wolf.
I love Fred.
Yeah.
And I love Fred.
You think he'll do the podcast?
You know what, Fred, I just saw him in the mall a few months ago, and he was working on something. He goes, I'll call you. I never heard from him. Him and Dana Carvey were working on something. Fred's great. I remember when Dickie Roberts, there was a big fight scene with, what's his name? Let's get ready to rumble. Was it Michael Buffer? Michael Buffer? And he was really a nice guy. We were sitting around talking for hours. That's why, you got to stand there for hours waiting. And that makeup and somebody else's clothes that probably dead people have worn. The shoes never fit properly. Every time they give me clothes, I always wanted to put on my own clothes. I never know. I sat there for like 20 minutes, talked to David Spade and did my scene. And the second my scene was over, I got out of there. Yeah. I never hang out. Yeah. I just can't wait to get the makeup off me. I don't know how women wear makeup. It's so constricting and annoying. And as soon as I'm done, I can't wait to go home and crack open a bottle of wine because I feel I was in showbiz today. I did a movie. And I remember, I think, I'm sorry if it was Dickie Roberts. I think it was Dickie Roberts. It might have been Dreamgirls. But it was one movie I did that we get invited to the premiere, and I'm sitting right in front of the director. And 20 minutes into the movie, I go, this really sucks. I can't leave. I can't leave because the direct. I can't. This guy put me in the movie. I don't remember what movie it was. I don't think Dickie Roberts was great. So was Dreamgirl. So it could have been those, but it was
Ed Wood, maybe.
No, I loved Ed Wood. Yeah, Ed Wood. My part was so small. I didn't even get invited to the premiere. I got invited to the cast and crew or the crew screening. Like the people who did craft services and drove around the celebrities like Alan.
Well, we're running out of time.
God.
But Bobby,
running out of time is not as good as out of time, but we're heading in the right direction.
No, because
running out is good. How much time do we have?
No, but do you have anything coming up that you want to promote? Like, where are you this weekend or next weekend?
No, I'm home for 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
so where are we going in 2 weeks?
You really want to go on the road with me, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you have any guys who are lined up to do that? Robert Duchesne?
Yeah, I love Robert.
But you know what? The thing is, I don't make enough money to bring a guy on the road. All these comedy clubs I play, they hire their own acts.
You don't have to pay me. I'll drive us.
I drive around with you around the country?
Yeah.
Like flying doesn't suck enough, I got to be in a car with you?
Oh, I'll pay for
And then when it gets dark outside, I got to take over the driving. And that's fine.
I'll pay for flying.
Wait, Bobby, I'm here. I'm here for you.
I'll bring Alan. He could drive us.
I got 40 guys who want to work with me. I don't know why. Yeah, that would be great. A weekend with you, too.
All right.
Oh, my God.
He'll still crack open a bottle of wine after this.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe two.
I'm on my way out the door right now. Anyway, if anybody is still awake or listening, BobbySlayton.com or Pitbull of Comedy on Twitter. And that's all I have to plug. Nothing coming up.
We're gonna get you followers because I'm gonna tell everyone to follow the great Bobby Slayton.
That'd be great. I'm one of the few people that every time I tweet, I lose people. I'm gonna be the first.
Me too.
No, but I'm gonna have negative Twitter followers in about 6 months. People, how many Twitter followers? I'm going to have minus a few thousand. I don't know if anybody's ever pulled that off.
Yeah, why? Because I was on Reza Riffs.
No, I always lose people. I don't know why.
He doesn't need this.
Oh, no, but Bobby did this for me. It was a huge favor, and I appreciate it, man.
A great thank you.
Cool.
Thank you,
All right,
Bobby.
guys, that's the end of the show. I'm Keith Reza, Alan Lee. Follow everyone, Bobby Slayton on Twitter.
Bobby Slayton was here.
Thank you.
All right, next week we have Craig Shoemaker, so we'll see you then.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee right here on LA Talk Radio.